Welcome to I Wrote That, a podcast where we bring authors and industry experts together to talk about all things books and make the journey to authorship just a little bit easier. My name is Larissa Sohan, and I am the CEO of Next Page Publishing, a hybrid publishing house where we help entrepreneurs write books to grow their businesses. In 2021, I published my first sci-fi novel, The Defender, through a hybrid publishing company. And from that experience, I learned exactly what not to do. When I joined with this very big publishing company, I was put in a system that was designed to push out thousands of books a year, and I was just a cog in the wheel. And it was heartbreaking when my first book was published and it was a flop. In that moment, I made it my mission to found a hybrid publishing company that was going to give aspiring authors the experience that they deserve. Now I'm on a mission to help aspiring authors feel like they are in control of the publishing journey and that they are supported by a team of experts who genuinely want the best for them and their books. If you are in the very beginning of your journey, or maybe you have a manuscript that you're finished and you're not sure how to get it out into the world, I encourage you to reach out to us at nextpagepublishing.net. You can schedule your free discovery call and find out how our team of experts can make your journey to being a published author easy, smooth, and successful. Now, without further ado, let's get on to our next amazing guest and make your journey to authorship a little less complicated. In this episode, we're going to talk about phases 1, 2, 3, and 4, where really it's an all-encompassing picture of Tara's story from deciding to write a book to publishing it and what her marketing plans are going to be. So if you're unfamiliar with what the heck I'm talking about around phases, make sure to go back to the season 2, episode 1. It's labeled Start Here. It's going to give you the fundamentals of what all of our episodes are laid out so that you have an understanding of what to expect and what tips you're going to glean from the episodes to support you on your writing journey. Hey everyone, I'm really excited to bring this special guest to you today. Her interview is phenomenal and she is the ideal person to talk to about using a book to build your business, as she is an entrepreneur who saw the value of having a book as part of her brand, went for it, and hasn't looked back since. So I want to welcome Tara LaFon-Gooch. She is the CEO of Best Branding Solutions, a keynote speaker and author, and soon to be TEDx speaker. She's recently been featured in Forbes Morocco, the United Business Journal, and Fox News in New York. Her forthcoming book, How to Grasp Confidence and Own Your Power, is set to publish on August 18th and take readers on an exploration of self-confidence and teaches them 5 simple steps to develop confidence and step into their best versions of themselves. I'm so excited to have Tara with us today to talk about her upcoming book that comes out on August 18th. And I love having authors in this stage because you've been through the writing, you've been through the editing, and you're now heading into the marketing phase, which I know that you are hitting it hard. So tell us a little bit about you, Tara.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I like to tell people I'm a corporate dropout, right? So, it was March of 2022. I decided that I didn't want to go back into corporate anymore and, try to, go out on my own and see what that would be like. So, I didn't necessarily have a firm, plan or anything like that. But I just wanted to try something different and see what would happen. And honestly, I didn't have a lot of attachment to an outcome. I didn't know what the outcome was. I honestly did not know. People laugh at that, right? But it's so true. Sometimes we don't have all our ducks in a row. But I went ahead and jumped head first and, decided to go into full-time entrepreneurship. Just this year, decided to write a book about a lot of my life experience, and I speak on stage. I'm a keynote speaker, and a coach. So I do a lot of different things. But it all started with just that little spark of self-belief and wanting more out of life, and that inspired me to write this book.
That's amazing. I am too. I'm a corporate dropout. I left my corporate position 3 years ago and became an author, first, and then I said, this is my life now. This is who I am, and created my publishing house. And now I help aspiring authors write and publish their books. So how long ago are you a corporate dropout? How long did it take to get from, that mindset, which is significantly different than entrepreneurship, to speaking on international stages? You have a TEDx talk coming out. Your book is coming out in August. How long did it take you to get from A to Z?
By the time I speak on the TEDx stage, it'll be 1 year since I started my speaking career and 15 months since I left my corporate job.
That is amazing.
Yes. It's hard to even say out loud
Yes.
because it doesn't sound possible. But it is, right? And if any of your listeners have one takeaway, that it is with enough self-belief, anything is possible. So even that big scary thing that maybe you've wanted to do but haven't had quite the audacity to do such a thing, it's possible. Belief and confidence.
Let's talk about that confidence, because you have a confidence course coming up between now and the launch of your book. And I know we're going to publish this episode right around the launch of your book. So if anybody does want to get in touch with you on a confidence basis, we'll talk about how to do that. We'll drop all your links in the show notes and everything so people can reach out to you. But what kind of confidence did you need to write your book? Because it's different than speaking confidence. It's a different kind of mind game that you go through when you decide to become an author. What was that process like for you?
Well, it was really revealing. When you write, your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind kind of takes over, and it can be a very cathartic experience. And you may start to remember things that from years past that you had forgotten, right? But I learned so much about myself from writing this book. And again, this book was not a thought in my mind until about mid-February of this year. And one weekend, I sat with my laptop on my couch, hunkered down, and started writing, and just writing and writing, and I couldn't stop. And that one weekend, I wrote 11,000 words, not with the intention of writing a book. I was literally just, again, in that flow state. And then it occurred to me, well, I guess I have a book. And then it clicked that that's how I'm going to be able to speak on stage, through this book, with this book. And this book is not for me. This book is for anybody who has suffered in their life, which I think is most people in some way or form, with a lack of confidence. And my mindset shifted, and I said, well, this is actually an act of service, because I want to teach people how to become confident and give them this hack, because it made me suffer so much in my life. And I said, well, I feel like I have a really good system for developing it. I want to share it and get it out very soon. So then it just became this, all right, I'm going to kind of work at this constantly type of thing. And here we are today, and my book comes out in just a few short months. And again, anything is possible. It's amazing.
Our stories are incredibly similar. And when I reached out to you to be a guest on this, I kind of lean into that intuition, that vibe, when you see somebody and you're like, okay, she has a story to tell. I want to bring her on. But my first book was also an accident. I sat down one day and I started writing. Mine's a sci-fi. My first book is a sci-fi, The Defender. And I sat down and I intended to work on something else. I intended to be writing a mystery game. My husband and I used to do escape room games for kids. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to write a new game. And then, just like you, I was 10,000 words in when I went, I don't think this is a game. I think this is a book. And it was the same thing. I wrote my book very, very fast. Let's talk about timeline for your books. You started writing, we were talking earlier, back in February. That's when you started. And now you're publishing in August. That's what, 6-7 months from word one to publish. What is driving you to publish so quickly?
I guess I've always been an overachiever, right? With everything I do, and it's almost as if it's ingrained in my DNA. I just am an overachiever, but yes, I'm an overachiever, but two, I believe and I honestly believe this, that this book is part of my life's purpose and why I was put on this planet. And I have, you know, I have it here so everybody can see it. But I do. I believe it's part of my purpose, and that I'm meant to teach this, that I'm meant to help people. And confidence is, it's that silent struggle that a lot of people go through, but few actually admit to it, right? People think it makes them sound weak. That's very common. So it's more comfortable to say I have imposter syndrome or limiting beliefs or self doubt or even negative self talk sometimes, right? Than it is to say I have lack of confidence, because it just feels like a weakness, but it's not. And I do believe that, we're born with a certain level of confidence, and through, trials, tribulation, struggle, that confidence meter begins to kind of decrease over time. And especially with girls, I think it's statistically been proven that when a girl reaches puberty, her confidence actually decreases 50%. And then if you've already had a lack of confidence before that, and then you go into your adult life, you go into college, you go into your workforce, maybe you work in a toxic work environment, maybe you have a bad relationships, bad friendships. All of these things work to bring down our confidence. You have enough people saying, I don't believe in you, with their actions, thoughts, or deeds. And then you start to not believe in yourself either. So this lack of confidence can really hold people back. So it's with a sense of urgency that I wrote this book, because it was holding me back.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw me back in every single aspect of my life, the amount of money I made, my relationship, even with my daughter. And I said, I have to break this cycle. How do I do it? And that's what enabled me to write this book.
Have to break this cycle.
Yeah.
As you're talking, I'm thinking about my daughter, right? She's 5,
Yep.
and she is the most confident person I've ever met. And right, and as you're
Yep.
like you're saying, we are born with a certain amount of confidence, and typically as children, it's a lot. And then it's our job as their parents to foster that. And this is what I like about helping people and write their books, is I like working with parents particularly, because
Mhm.
we've been through teenage years, we've been through the struggles. That confidence we had when we were kids is, like you said, it's half of what we had. And a lot of people, when they come to me, are nervous to write their books. They're very nervous. Like you said, you learn a lot about yourself. You're going out into the world in a different way than you would speaking, podcast, coaching, whatever. You're showing up differently with your book. And that can shake a lot of our confidence to be like, do I even want to do this? And working with parents, it's like, well, by doing this, by putting yourself out there this way, what are you showing your kids? What are you giving them permission to do, to feel, to see in you? You're modeling a different type of behavior, right? I think that's incredible. That's an incredible link to have. So you have jam-packed through this, and you are my type of girl. My first book, it was 8 months, I think, from word one to published. So same as you, fast, fast, fast. But what kind of help have you had along the way to get you from word one to published?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, I surround, and that's part of one of my, things that I outline in the book. I surround myself with really supportive people. I listen to that confidence meter within me, right? And I make sure if somebody doesn't make me feel confident, I don't have them in my life. It's really that simple. If somebody is bringing you down, it's not worth it. I promise you. So this could be, friends, people that you think are friends, even family members, right? So it's important, as you're powering through and trying to increase the success and your trajectory in life, whatever your goal is, if your goal is to write a book, if your goal is to speak on stage, if your goal is to run a company, you've got to be confident. And you can't be confident without supportive people in your life who are in that proximity circle around you, who are actively wanting you to succeed. So I have coaches, um, and they believe in me. And sometimes that's all it takes
Mm-hmm.
is for you to work with somebody that sees something in you that you can't even see within yourself. And those are the only type of people that I work with and surround myself with. And because of that, it enables that success like gasoline to a flame. And there's nothing you can't do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, surrounding yourself with success, with the type of success that you want to see is really important too. It's that visualization of you want to partner yourself with or pair yourself with somebody that is on a similar journey to you or a couple steps ahead of you is the
Yeah.
nice part, right? Or you just need those cheerleaders. You need your mom in your corner. You need your spouse, your partner, your kid. You need them to be engaged in your goals so that they can bring you along when times get tough. And um I know when we write quickly, and it's so fun to talk to somebody that's been, again, walked my journey, has written quickly. I didn't come up against a lot of writer's block in my first book because it was so fast. It just flowed. But when I got to, my second and third books, it was a little bit different. There
Mhm.
was writer's block. There was those confidence hits of like, holy cow, why am I doing this? I'm a terrible writer. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And then you read the next page and you're like, nope, I'm good. I'm awesome. Never mind. I forgot. But to have those people next to you when you're in that moment of, oh, I don't know why I'm doing this. This is terrible. This isn't fun. I don't like it, to bring you back to that original why, to that confidence you had when you started, right? And just remind you of how awesome you are and why you showed up in the first place is so powerful to the success of an author. So you have big goals with this book. Like, we've already talked about TEDx, you're on international speaking stages, and that was one of the big reasons you wrote this book, was to get on more speaking stages, to now maybe I'm filling in the blanks here, but to give out copies of your book at the back end of your events, to make a bigger impact, to reach more people, to bring in more leads to you and your business as a result of your book and your speaking business. But what kind of impact are you making to look from your book?
I want to especially help women. So, women who are leaders, women who are entrepreneurs like me, like us, right? I want to help. And the book is, anybody can appreciate the book and follow the steps in the book. The steps are universal. It doesn't matter where your background or education or gender are. But I wrote the book for women because I just know the pains and how difficult it is sometimes to stand up for yourself. And I want women to have a fair advantage in the workplace. I want women to make the amount of money that they deserve to make based on their skill sets, based on their credentials, and not get underrepresented and make the amount of money that they deserve. And I want women to understand that no matter where they came from in life, that they can go on to accomplish incredible things.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote the book for anybody, and anybody that saw that cycle and got is wanting to get themselves out of it. I talk about it as if it is a cycle because it is. When you see, so you're a parent, I'm a parent, our children model our behavior, right? So, and we know that they're like sponges. Well, I'm trying to also not just save this current generation of women, but I'm trying to save the future generations of women, because these children are modeling their mom's unconfidence,
Mm-hmm.
and it impacts them in their life. And as a mom, the last thing I wanted to do was for my daughter to start modeling my unconfidence And I decided to break that cycle. If I'm walking into the room every day with my head down and my shoulders slouched forward and guarding my body, if I'm doing these shrinking behaviors and body language, eventually she's going to learn that as well. And
Mhm.
I couldn't stand by and watch that become a reality.
Yeah. I think that, again, this brings it back to authors that are mothers or authors that are parents. I won't even just say mothers, fathers, mothers, aunts, uncles, whatever, however you're in a child's life, writing that book and sharing that experience with your children, with the children in your life, whether you're a teacher and you've written a book and you're just modeling so much positivity for yourself, trust in yourself, confidence in yourself, that you and your ideas are worthy of being in the world, and
Yeah.
that they are it's your message to the world to see better. And it's universal. That's why we write books, is because we see a gap and we want to fill that gap with something that we think is a good fit for it, whether it's self-help, whether it's a cookbook, whether it's fiction. We are seeing a need in the world and trying to fill it with our own ideas, and you're giving permission to the kids in your life, maybe even the other adults in your life, your peers, to do the same thing. They look at, like, people look at you and I, Tara, of like, well, if she can do it, like, I watched her go on her journey, and I watched her come around, and I've seen her speak on stage, and I love her message, and I have a message like that. I could share my message like that, right? Like, we just get so much permission to show up authentically and how you want to be seen in this world.
I love that. That's the big word, is authenticity,
Yeah.
right? So the book was hard to write. I want to say that. I still cringe about the fact that people are going to read what I wrote down, because a lot of it is very raw.
Mhm.
It's very emotional. It ties at your heartstrings. It's, you know, gonna pull and make you feel something very deep.
Mhm.
But, you know, while I'm a naturally very conservative person, I knew that this bigger message was only going to be possible, and I was only going to be able to help the amount of people that I needed to help realistically if I wrote a book and if I was able to speak on stage. But I had to show up authentically. I couldn't hold back. It wouldn't be impactful, right? So while I had to get out of my comfort zone and, show authentically and, be representative of the reality that I did face, it's again, I look at it as more of an act of service, because I just want to show women, especially, that no matter where you've come from in life, that you could go on to be a TEDx speaker, an author, whatever you want, in a very short amount of time. And here's the steps to do it.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. Okay. My last and favorite question, I guess it's my second to last favorite question. How do authors, or how do people get a hold of you? Like, do you have a special offer or anything? Do they have a website you can send them to?
Yes, absolutely. So taralafongooch.com. And eventually, well, next month, I will have the book link on there for pre-order. But on there, you can find all of my social media handles, get in touch with me via email, book a discovery call, and learn more about my speaking programs and what I do for people, how I help companies and organizations grow as well. And it's through leadership. I'm a leadership speaker, and my specialization is confidence. My goal is to help inspire and motivate future leaders and generations to become great. And I can only do that by helping those people soar to new heights. So taralafongooch.com, and that's how you find me. Feel free to connect on social.
Perfect. So we'll throw that link in the show notes. You can grab you there, or grab her contact information there. We'll also put in the link, the pre-order link to your book, so that that is a one click away for our listeners. Okay, now my last and favorite question. What advice do you have for aspiring authors?
Just get started, right? I think the power of consistency cannot be understated. A book doesn't have to be 500 pages long. Nobody probably wants to read it. So start by writing a few paragraphs a day, right? Get your outline together one day. Maybe you put an idea on a piece of paper day one. The second couple of days will be your outline. And then after that, just get started. If you write a couple of paragraphs every single day, in less than a year's time, you will have a fully fledged, complete, beautiful book. But you can only do that through consistency of action. So set aside time every single day, make it a priority, don't skip it, and continue that action. And in 1 year, you will be done. And that's how you write a book in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, that's right. Consistency, right? And it's not waiting for the motivation is not what you need to wait for when you're writing the book. It's the consistency to keep going, even when you're not motivated to write the darn thing, because there will be days when you are not motivated and you need to show up anyways. Show up consistently for you and your book. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Tara. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of I Wrote That. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to our show so you don't miss any of our upcoming guests. And if this has led you to some inspiration to want to get started on your own authorship journey, whether you just have an idea or you have a manuscript that you're ready to publish, reach out to us at nextpagepublishing.net and we will match you up with our team of experts to make the journey simple, easy, and simple.